Hey, busy business people. I am here today with another entrepreneur taking action, Julia Schneider. She is the owner of Alive with Possibility, and she successfully sold all of her belongings and traveled the world for 10 months. And I'm learning more about that journey, so stay tuned. So, to kick things off, you sold everything so you could travel the world. Why? Why did you want to do that?
Well, so first of all, I grew up in a family where we traveled all the time. So it almost felt like my parents had all the suitcases packed and they're just like, go, So I'm very used to traveling. And what I found is that when I entered because I used to work in corporate, and when I entered the corporate world, I was really, it felt like I felt trapped, and that I just had this need to move, kind of be like a gypsy because I'm very used to this motion of constantly traveling. And after 2 years in corporate, I just one time actually I went camping with a few friends, and we were sitting around the fire, and it just dropped. I had a download. It's like I cannot do this anymore. I have to live my life, and I went back. I quit my job. I sold everything I had, and I just did exactly what I felt like doing. I just followed my intuition, and I just went. Like I didn't book anything ahead of time. So my first destination was Mexico, because that's what it felt like. So I went there, and then I tuned into my intuition. California was next. Tuned into my intuition again. Colombia and I just kept traveling. And the reason I came back to Ontario, which is where I live now, I'm in Canada, by the way. And I just had a premonition that my grandma something was going to happen to her. So I just wanted to go back and be closer to her. If it wasn't the case, I would keep traveling probably for a while.
Oh man, that just sounds like I can't even imagine. Like I'm one of these people that plans and packs, and I have to be
Yeah,
organized. I can't even imagine just being
yeah,
willing to just let go
yeah.
like that and just travel. Like, out of everywhere you've been, like, what was your favorite place? Like, your favorite adventure?
Um, I would say, well, Mexico was very interesting because I lived in a village. There were goats walking around the street, so it was like all dirt streets. There were roosters everywhere. They would wake us up at 3 in the morning. So the saying that roosters rise with the sun is not true. They wake up much earlier, and yeah, and it was just a very interesting experience because it was there not modern at all. There was just we had internet from time to time, but what used to happen is that because the internet wires were made out of copper, and apparently you can sell copper for a lot of money. So there were thieves that kept stealing the wires. So we would have you know intermittent internet, and but what he taught me is just taking things so seriously, because when you can't work, you just can't work. There's like nothing you can do about it. You can get mad, you can get but it's not gonna change the fact that you can't work. And I just learned to, live more with the flow and just trust that everything's gonna work out exactly as it has to. So I would say, yeah, Mexico was very interesting experience for me.
Now, I mean, you just kinda spoke to a little bit of my next question, but, like, you're running a coaching business while you're traveling around, working remotely, and you're all over the place with all kinds of different challenges. Like, what was that like? How did you juggle all of that?
It Again, it was at first. So when I just arrived in Mexico, I still had this because again I'm in Canada, and here especially in the winter, people work a lot because I mean, what are you going to do? It's really cold. Nobody wants to go outside. It's just like you have this mentality of work, 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 work. And then when I came to Mexico, the first week I actually had a really challenging time because the pace was much slower, and it was very weird. It was like, what do I do with myself? And then I just gradually adjusted. And again, I just started listening to my intuition, anything that needed to be done. Because when you can't control the outcome, you have to surrender. you just can't. Like, it's not gonna work if you keep trying to control stuff. And so I just did exactly what felt right in the moment, and things just kept rolling. The community grew. I was attracting new people online. It was all online because in the village I lived. I mean, the concept of what I do was not even like it was just not even like on the radar at all. um, but yeah, it all followed very naturally, and it really helped me to trust. To trust the universe, to trust myself, and to trust that I'll be able to, no matter what happens, that I'll be able to figure things out. And I mean, I never had an experience where things just like fell through and I didn't know what to do. There was always the next step and the next step and the next step.
It kind of reminds me of somebody I interviewed last week. He said that pretty much all of life and all of business is a series of, just this cycle of problem, strategy, solution. Like you're just constantly
Yeah.
doing it. And he said problems aren't a bad thing because once you can identify the problem, now you can work on the strategy and then the solution and then do it all over again. It just kind of reminded
Yeah.
me of that, what you just said. Like you just can't control some stuff, but you can work on the strategy to deal with it and you can work on a solution to it and just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like for me, I find in business, it's good to have structure, and it's good to have flexibility within the structure. Yeah. Because if you don't have the structure, it could be very stressful too because you just don't know what to do. uh, right? But as long as you have a structure and you have an intention to sort of stay within it as much as you can, the rest can be very fluent and flexible. At least that's how it works for me.
Well, I know, like, you're in kind of as Pedro Adao likes to call it, a woo-woo kind of space, but, like, I just wanna step back for a second. You are beyond qualified. Like, I know a lot of people wouldn't probably expect that given what you're in. You had about 22 different qualifications and achievements, I think, when I looked them up. You're a certified, kinesiologist from York University, recreation leisure specialist from Canadore College, autogenic regulation practitioner from York University, a Reiki master certification from Healing. Like you have put a lot of effort into your education. How has that, played into what you do every day? Or like what made you pursue just so much qualification and achievements?
Well, thanks for the question because I love to learn. I'm just so passionate about learning. It's for me, it's a hobby. It's very interesting, and I actually love science, both science and well, let's call it the whole world, but I call it spirituality. So science and spirituality, because for me, just science is not enough because science just what is it called? It just covers the things we can see, but there's so many things outside of that we can't see, and I think that's where spirituality comes in. But what I like is to have my spiritual understanding being confirmed by science. That's really kind of energizes me. And I actually started out as a kinesiologist. Kinesiology is the science of human movement. So we studied anatomy and physiology and virology. It's not exactly human movement, but it's like all related to human
Mhm.
health. And when I actually remember I had a moment the first time I stepped into my human physiology course. It was this huge lecture hall with I think there were like about 300 seats. It was very deep. You had to go downstairs to get to the to the chairs. And um, when I started studying physiology, I realized that there's the human experience, like the human being, the human body, we're directly related to the entire universe. You can't you can't study human physiology or anatomy or just like the science of human health without addressing everything in the universe, really. Your lifestyle, your surroundings, your interaction with nature, your interaction with humans, other humans. And then the more you keep going, it's like going down the rabbit hole. It just never ends. And I just kept learning because, I would learn something new and I would be like, okay, well, I think, yeah, okay, I think I get it now. And then I would be like, But wait a minute, but there's more. And I would just go to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And just never ends. Like I'm taking a break right now from studying just because, I've been doing it. Actually, I never studied since high school, to be honest. And I think I want a little bit of a break. But yeah, I'm just very interested in how life works. It fascinates me.
I think
So
that's really awesome. So, I mean, obviously, you know your stuff in a variety of different areas. Like, what do you think
yeah,
is the most misunderstood thing or something that people don't understand when it comes to like holistic self care to, all of that? Like, what do you think is the most
yeah.
misunderstood thing?
Well, I would say first of all, I think people make it like way too complicated. It's actually very simple to be healthy. All you need to do is live in alignment with the laws of nature because we are human beings. We're alive. We're made out of nature particles. Our cells are made out of nature particles. So it's very important to live with the cycles of nature, the laws of nature. And as long as we do that, it's very easy to be healthy. For example, I haven't seen a medical doctor probably for the last 13 years. I've not had medication at all for the last 13 years. There's no need. I'm very healthy because I just don't do the things that compromise my health. And what I see in society right now is that there's a lot of gimmicks. There's a lot of, take a supplement for this, take a supplement. Honestly, there's you could do it as a patch-up solution, or maybe just to like boost your performance from time to time. But that's not real health. That's just kind of, it's just kind of like a short-term solution. The long-term solution is to simply be a human being and live in a way that we're designed to live. And yeah, I think so. It just, there's no need to complicate things. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, and I know you work as a business coach and stuff as well. So it's like, what is something
Mhm.
that you wish you could change? Like when it comes to entrepreneurship, to running companies, to working? I mean, like, what's something you wish you could change in?
Mm. Yeah. So here's what I discovered because, when I left corporate, I was very excited about entrepreneurship. I'm still very excited about it. But what I realized that what's missing for me is I work alone. And I thought that that's what I wanted because, you know, who wants all the hustle of, politics and all that? But I actually felt isolated, really isolated. And so I had to find ways to connect to various communities just so that I'm not alone. And I would say, yeah, so that, and then of course, the up and down of entrepreneurship, that could be a little bit tricky, especially if like you need to know how to manage your money because if you are used to a steady paycheck and then you become an entrepreneur, it could be like a pretty big shock to realize, wait a minute, where's the money gonna come from? you know but if you sort of manage your money properly and you just space things out and you save for like a rainy day kind of thing, then it becomes much more stable, and entrepreneurship can be very enjoyable.
Well, I mean, on that vein, do you have any just like advice or tips that you want to share? Most of our audience is business owners, specifically small business owners that are looking to kind of grow or scale up their businesses or just enjoy what they do all day and have a better lifestyle. Do you have any tips for them?
Yeah, I do. I would say do less, and enjoy your life more. And the reason I'm saying it, it's actually also connected to holistic health, is that when you are happy and you're vibrant and you have tons of energy, things just get magnetized to you. Like, for example, I was doing in May, I did an online summit called Alive with Disability, Uplifting Happiness and Wellbeing on the Planet. And I was so excited about it. I was just so passionate. I had people offer me support. I never even asked for it. I never even looked for that. And I just had like the entire summit came together almost like that. Like I honestly don't feel I even worked. It was just the funnest, most enjoyable experience I had. And I'm going to tell you, I spent probably, I think I spent maybe like 3 hours, 4 hours a week working on it. That's it. The rest of the time, I went to the beach. I went for hikes. Socialized with my friends, and I just enjoyed my life. And I, I'm convinced that the reason it turned out so well is because I was very energized and happy. And so that's my tip: do less, do less, take more vacations, and make sure that, if you're starting to notice that you're kind of getting frustrated or sort of like annoyed with your business, take a step back. It's gonna be much more helpful than just pushing through. You'll achieve so much more if you just take a break, re-energize yourself, and come back to what you're doing with this happy and inspired and vibrant attitude.
I like that advice a lot, and that's something I've been encouraging people to do a lot more of. I word it differently, but I think it's actually the same advice. Like, I tell people to focus on figuring out what your superpower is, who you want to spend like all day, every day working with, like your favorite clients, the ones that make you happy, and then figure out what you want to do for them from there. And it's like, once you kind of do those things, you do really end up working less, making more, enjoying what you do, not dreading, getting up every morning. And you end up doing some really cool things. I mean, like a lot of the stuff I'm inventing in my businesses is because of that, like just adopting that
Yeah,
philosophy. I'm happier than I have been in
yeah,
years. So it's a lot of
beautiful.
fun. Now,
Yeah,
I know we've kind of hit around a little bit on kind of what you do, but I want to give you a chance to really talk about that. Like, who do you like to work with? How do you help them? And how does someone find you?
yeah. Well, I typically work with women, and it's women who they're really passionate about making a positive difference in the world. Women who see that something is not working, with the way society is, handling things, or just, in their in their own personal life. And they just need clarity. They need encouragement. They need support. They need someone to believe in them. And they need also to find ways to like have a lot of energy, because they're typically slightly burnt out, and they tend to, it's very specific. They tend to lean towards being anxious, like they sort of more of the anxious type. So they, as a result, they typically are slightly burned out. So I just help them to, be at their best, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And the way I work, I mean, now things change a little bit because of COVID, because people are a little bit nervous getting together in person. But I used to take people into the forest, and we would just walk in the forest and talk. And what I do, I'm very intuitive. I can read energy pretty easily. And what I typically do is that, so when a client talks to me, I hear the I hear what's underneath the word, and um, I hear what is needed for them to hear that they're not realizing, I guess, the best way to put it. And I just reflected back to them, and I help them gain clarity. And I find that when people have clarity, that's the quickest way to move forward. Because I think what gets in the way oftentimes is that we just don't know what to do. We don't know what we want. We think we know what we want, but not really. And then if we even know what we want, we don't actually know what to do. And once people get that clarity, move really quickly. Um, yeah. And now, I mean, I still like, people who are comfortable getting together. Then we just go for a hike. And people who are not, we work online. And there's also an option to take me on the phone. So basically, like, go into the forest on your own, and then have me coach on the phone. And I've done a few of those. Some people like it. Most people tend to be a little bit nervous going into the forest on their own. But those who aren't, it's just worked pretty well.
Yeah, I would definitely be one of those that would be nervous. I don't like going outdoors with bugs. That makes me very nervous. So,
Yeah. Oh, and actually, I just forgot to mention, like, the other thing, like, I online, what I do is I also support women. With, it's called Woman Speak. I basically help women, again, same thing. Women who want to make a positive difference in the world and they want to speak in a way that is very clear and enrolling for people. So it's kind of like a public speaking circle that I host. And then those women from that circle, they become my speakers for that life possibility summit. That's
Oh, that's
maybe.
really cool. Now, how can someone find you online? Do you have a website or social media, or like where can they find you?
Yeah, so the website is alive with possibility that coach. And you can just contact
Okay.
me.
I'll make sure I have that link wherever you guys are watching this video from when I post it out in the world. I'll make sure that link is somewhere near it. Well, thank you so much. And we're right at about our 20 minutes, which is how long I try and keep these most of the time. Thank you so much for coming on here and for doing this and for sharing, all this great advice with people. Today, this has been amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure. I love talking about it, and it's very nice to talk to you. You're very personable interviewer.
All right. Well, entrepreneurs that are listening today, this is your call to take action, right? Like you don't have to be alone. You don't have to be isolated. We have a community at etatoday.zone. Our whole focus is bringing people like Julia on to help you learn how to build a business that enables your lifestyle instead of taking over your life. So I'll see you there, guys.